All right, so this video is actually training I'm making for a team that I just hired to help me with outbound sales. And you'll be able to watch and just get tips from this as I go through my thinking in the process of how we're going to do our sales outreach. Here's my top thinking with reaching out to people via email. One, don't be salesy. I know it sounds crazy because we're going to sell via email, but think of all the emails that you get from salespeople in your inbox and how you quickly ignore them and how frustrating they are, and maybe you even mark them as spam or block them or whatever. And then think of maybe some of the emails you've gotten from someone that you don't know, but it intrigues you and makes you curious, and you click on it and you read it and you open it. Write emails like that. And I think for me, the ones that I've gotten are always the ones that are just they're friendly and they're genuine and they've done their homework and they're helpful. Like those emails that are just potentially going to help me. Like I'll glance at them. I may not reply, and the person is probably not going to reply to you, right? People get tons of messages and emails, but if it's a helpful email and it is useful for them, it's going to increase our chances of getting a reply back. All right. So when we're outbounding, one of the first things that we're going to have to look at is like, can the name be outbounded? Like think of why would the person buy the name that you're going to reach out to them about? Is it useful for their brand? Like do they have a bad domain name already for their business and you have one that's better? Cool. That's a perfect solution. Is it something that they're a big company and maybe they would want to buy it to make sure that competitors can't buy it? Great. That's a great use. If you don't have the use case, like if it's an interesting name and you're like, you can't think of who would use the name, it's going to be difficult to do outreach to that. At least that's the way that I'm thinking about it. So for example, I'll look at this list of some of these that we have. So Virtue Villas, okay, I think there could be potential there. Solid Ground Builders, there could be potential there. There's probably not a business name that or whatever, but Mountain Crest Homes, for sure, potential. But as I scroll further down, so let me go to like this one I see, Summit Nest. I don't know. Like I don't even know who I would reach out to or where that would go. A Prosper Bin, cool name, but I would really have to dig in. I would really have to dig in and find out like, is there a startup that's doing something like that? Like I just think it's a neat name and I wanted to buy and hold on to it. Same with like Rise and Shop. Now I think that could be a cool name for a tree trimming business or even something entrepreneurial like Rise and Shop. Like people talk about, man, chopping wood, stacking bricks, like Rise and Shop. I mean, could be a cool entrepreneurial name. I don't know who I would reach out to necessarily to sell it. Card Fanatics. I mean, I had someone in mind for this actually, and we have it listed with a broker right now. Okay, so that's to give you an idea of kind of like the way that I'm thinking about these domains. So you got to start off with something that has a fit. Okay, cool. Now let's go to the next step. All right, sweet. So we've got some names that we think we know who to reach out to, or we have an idea of the type of business. Okay, awesome. Now the next step. This is a case where Google is going to be your best friend. So in this case, let's take the example pillarbuilders.com. I mean, first thing I want to do is see, okay, what pillar builders are out there, right? So I'll do this live in front of you, and then I'll come back and show you the outreach that I've done for that. So just a quick Google search of pillar builders. Okay, so I've got Pillar Homes, so they already have that. They already have that domain name. That's fine. So like maybe that's a fit. Maybe it's not, right? Now I would go. I mean, starting on page one of Google, but I mean, you're gonna go deep. Like you want to go deep into Google. So like maybe there's you know, so pillarconstructionco.com, like that's not very helpful. Like for them having that co on the end. Now let me see what happens if I put pillar builders in quotes. Let's go there as well. Okay, it's like pillar builder products, pillar builders Inc. Now this may be the company that I found. Pillar Builders Inc. 11 to 50 employees, public company. So I'm gonna look momentarily and we're gonna see if I have this one already as a potential being interesting that we use. Oh yeah, they own it. That makes sense. So unless I'm overlooking the company, let me look at the address. I'm sure these guys have a website. Was that them? Pillar companies? Pillar companies. Actually, let me see if this is the example I was gonna give you. Let me get it. Pillar builders. This is interesting. I mean, I'm just doing live contact in front of you of like who I would info at pillar companies. Let me see if I have that one on my list already. No. I mean, Yeah, so I would like, this would be a lead to me, right? Like, this is someone that I would want to contact. So, in fact, let me go ahead and just add this. Let me just go ahead and add this one to the list. Companies, pillar companies. Yeah, pillar companies is it's kinda complicated. Let's see, like, the name of that domain, like, maybe they would wanna own pillar builders. So, like, I think these guys would be a good lead, right? And that's from simple Google searching, right? That was just from me looking and just kinda digging in a little bit. So let me go back just for a few more minutes. Let me just look at pillar builders. Just a simple Google pillar builders, pillar homes, just so you kinda have an idea of kinda what at least what I have in mind, and your strategy may be different. So pillarhomes.us, maybe? Like, I mean, if I were them, I would want a different domain name. So .us is a little complicated. Pillar homes, I could say, like maybe, but like they would have to see that. So they either have to be educated that the .us extension, that TLD .us is not going to be as good as a .com. Like, we would have to tell them that. We'd have to kind of explain that to them a little bit. But with that said, I would totally have these guys on the list. So if I don't have these guys as well, they need to be on the list. All right. So you're seeing there's all these potentials. So now you're gonna need to collect the information, right? You're gonna need to get their contact information, their email address, whatever. That's info. Info at pillarhomes.us. So yeah, we'd want to shoot them an email, shoot them a message. Now, if we can figure out who owns the company, LinkedIn would then be a good, right? Where I was over here on LinkedIn. So there's one employee. Let's see, like for these guys, this employee. Let's see what this employee does. Like, what does she do? Maybe if she was like a marketing person or something, that would be cool. Okay. Sorry, I had to get logged in or whatever. Controller. All right. So it doesn't look like she's actually there. Vista Sober Living LLC. Yet, I mean, doesn't look like maybe she still works there. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. But you can use it as a potential, right? To reach out to a person and say, hey, I'm trying to reach, whoever do the marketing. I have this, I have something that you guys, may be interested in or whatever. So that's an outlet. Like, that's something that you can do. All right. So this is an easier example. I think some of them are going to be harder. Like, they're going to be harder to find the companies where it makes sense. But let's look at a few more. So Pillar Builders Inc. But like, this is a good domain name that we should be able to outbound and reach out and sell that name to a potential buyer. Now, as you find these leads, you need to log them however it makes sense for you. As you can see right here, I've got these in Trello where I'm putting in leads. A better way, honestly, it's whatever CRM you want to use. This is not to teach you how to, track and how to follow up with leads. You can use a spreadsheet. In fact, a Google spreadsheet, a Google sheet or a spreadsheet works perfectly for this. Like, that's perfectly fine. The whole point is just about doing the research and making sure that you get those potential leads tracked. Another tool that you may very well want to use is called opencorporates.com. And it's basically like a database of company names, like across the country, really, right? So let's say companies, let's just type in Pillar Builders and see what happens. Okay. And so here's 13 companies here. Pillar Home Builders. Now, this is the name of these companies, and it tells you if they're active or inactive. This, as a side note, can also be a useful way for you to decide if you want to purchase a domain name in the first place. You can see, like, hey, how many active businesses are there with this, with this name or whatever. Pretty interesting. I hadn't thought about this. So, like, Pillar in Perch, I'm sure they have a website already, but interesting that an architect. I didn't think of an architect as a potential outlet for pillar builders, right? So, but that makes sense. Pillar and Pine Builders LLC, that could be a pillarbuilders.com, depending on what they have. Like, so then you could dig in and you could try to look at these companies and find them and add them to your list, right? Side note, if you would like to link up with a group in a private group that talks about domain name investing in shares, check out domainnamelovers.com. I'll put a link down below as well. Private Discord group. Feel free to join us if you'd like. All right. I don't think we're given the website here necessarily, but we just Google them. Again, Google's our friend. So Pillar and Pine Builders LLC, we can see, where was that again? Huntsville, Utah. So Pillars and Pine. The Pillar and Pine. Pillarandpine.com. Okay, it's Birmingham, Alabama. Not a great domain name. Maybe they would want Pillar Builders. Possibly. That's also a small company. But okay, so where was it again? So Huntsville. Is it Utah? Is that what we said? Huntsville, Utah. Pillar and Pine LLC, Huntsville, Utah. See if we can find these guys. Pillar and Pine Builders. I mean, maybe these guys don't have a website. That's possible. Pillar and Pine. Oh, wow. I like that. It's good luck. Pillar Pine. Pillarpine.com. And we have an email, right? So info@pillarpine.com. Okay. That's not good. Okay. Maybe they need some website help. Maybe I should reach out for that. So last time I posted on Facebook was 3 years ago. So this could be a dead lead, right? Very possibly a dead lead. That's fine though. I mean, I would add them to my list. I just feel like, hey, like it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to send them an email, right? Now, and you could rate your leads. You could rate your leads and say like, hey, like these are hot, these are medium, and these are just, I don't know, maybe like their potentials. Like I'm gonna send them a message and maybe they'll be interested, maybe they won't. But you can have your leads that you think really would make a good fit with your domain name and get really strategic about reaching out to those. All right, so we've decided the name, we've got our list of candidates of people that we're gonna reach out to. Now let's just think about the messages. I don't think it needs to be complicated at all. So let's stay on the pillar builders example and let's come here and I can show you just the email that I sent, at least one of these leads for a specific company. So Raja. So I had the first name of this person. I'm an online guy and thought you might be interested in also owning pillarbuilders.com as a way to secure your online footprint and keep competition out. I'm just starting to do some outreach, so happy to give you a few days before I start reaching out to other similar businesses. Thanks. P.S. You've got a credible looking team. Congrats on the success. Now it's like I don't know, just a genuine note. Now I did not hear back from this person. I did not hear back from the other people on his team that I also emailed. But I did a few things that I think are important in this email. Here's the same email. One, I included the domain so that they could click on it and see, and they can see that it's available for sale. They could also see that they could lease to own it. So, I didn't mention anything about price or anything like that, but I have it so that they can go and they can look and they could literally go and purchase it from Afternic right here. So I think that's important. Like, of course, leave the link. This I was actually on their website and saw their team, so I kind of thought that was genuine. I gave them a reason for why they may want to buy it. So I'm just talking through some of my thoughts in this email. It's a short email. It's not long. Secure your online footprint and keep competition out. So this guy is one of the owners of the company, I believe. And so my thinking is like, of course, an owner is going to think like this, right? Now, if you're reaching out to like the marketing team or something, if it's a bigger company and maybe a marketing team, that's a little bit different, right? It may be like I didn't even use the word domain name. Oh, I did say the domain, but I linked to it. So like people may not even know what that means. Like what is a domain name? And so as you can see the subject line like that I use, expanding Pillar Construction's footprint. I don't know, I didn't say domain name for sale or something like that. So that's just an example of the type of emails that I would send. And let me see, I think I have some maybe example down here. Let's see, Apex Shingles. Do I have a message? No message. I just have contacts. Mobile element. This one's a little bit different because I lived at these apartments. How's my favorite apartment complex? But I said, hey, I own a few domain names that your owners might be interested in. So I actually know the management here. So like I know the people here. It's a little bit different, but let me go ahead and just show you the email. And on this one, what I showed them was that, hey, this actually has a monthly search volume, right? So I thought that they may be interested in that. Why? Because they book apartments. They want people to go and live at these apartments. So you can own these assets in perpetuity as long as you renew the domain names each year. I'm happy to sell them at a discount as a combo package. We can easily use a service like escrow.com to help with the transfer of the domain names. Yeah. So that's an example. Take from that what you will. Let me go to Laredo Moving. I think I have an. So this is to prepare for contact forms. But the message in the contact form, what was I going to say? Hey, I own laredomoving.com and I think you'll want to look into it for your business. You can also keep it from your competitors if you don't need it yourself. Just visit Laredo Moving for more details. Thanks. Right. So I put the idea in their head that, hey, maybe they'll want to keep it from competitors. Like even if they don't need it, like they should hold on to it. Like, cause it'd be a good investment for them. So that's my thinking. All right. So I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to send clear messages. I'm going to decide who would be a good fit for the domain names. And I'm just going to track it and reach out. That's what we need to do. And I've got plenty more content on domaining and I'm going to be making a lot more. So make sure you connect. Ask any questions down below. I'll let you know what I'm learning and we'll go from there.